All right. Welcome back to the Who is Will Sims podcast. So, it's been a minute since I've done a solo episode. It's September 16th, 2024. It's been a busy year. I've been focused on playing music and been doing a little bit of touring, like legit, like weekend runs, like more than I've ever done in my entire life. Some bands came close that I was in, but this feels like the real deal, you know. Yeah, it's been a minute. Whew, it's been 6 months since my last solo one. Yeah, the podcast has been a lot of fun. I've been bringing on a lot of friends and getting, the opportunity to talk with them about stuff because, you don't really get a chance to see a lot of people. I see a lot of these people often, but you don't get a chance to really, dig in and talk about some shit and really learn about each other. And so that's been a fun, and also just been able to meet a lot of cool musicians in the area that I didn't really know. Musicians, actors, the whole nine. It's been a lot of fun. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of give some of my life updates here. So, I've got a steady run of shows leading out, running for the rest of the year. I picked up a bunch of dates at Don't Know Tavern, which is down in Baltimore. And then I'll be up at Flinchies in Camp Hill, PA. And then I got a really cool run in early October. I'm going to Memphis, Tennessee, then Shreveport, Louisiana, and then Dothan, Alabama. And then maybe one more stop on the way home, we'll see, but still an awesome run, a chance to go to 3 states I've never been to, I've never set foot in. Get to see, more of the world than I've ever seen, So, and drive longer than I've ever driven. So, that's one of the things I got going on. Lots of music projects in the works. My new EP is almost out. My next single should be dropping in a week or two. The last single, and then next month the full EP drops. That's been awesome. Jack O'Connell recorded this EP. He produced it. He made the thing happen. I got my buddy Joe on guitar and bass, just laying down the licks, and some other people who contributed as well. But the final product has been really, really come out great. I've gotten a lot of great feedback on it. I'm looking forward to pushing this out into the world. And then, shortly after, I'm going to be looking at starting to put out my next album because I've got all kinds of stuff that's done and I need to just keep putting it out because if there's one thing I've learned, it's really easy to let life take the reins and you just kind of lose track of time. I mean, I can't tell you, even just putting out a song a month, sometimes I'll realize, oh crap, I need to sit down and get this stuff situated because, I want this song to come out next week and I haven't even, done the preparations to release it. And so, yeah, it's been an awesome thrill ride of a year. Some really cool shows. We did the Purple Moose twice. That was amazing. 2 great shows. The crowd was so great. They really carried us. The band I had was just rocking. Mike Bullmash on drums, Taylor Gamaliski on the keys and the guitar, and then Ansh Goswami on the lead guitar, and then we had Dave Jan good friend of ours. He played the first one, but then he injured himself and he wasn't able to do the second one. But Chris was able to jump in and make it happen, and we those were some amazing shows. That's one of those venues, Purple Moose Saloon down in Ocean City, Maryland, that I'd almost do it for free because it's such a cool place. But it's awesome that they gave a band like me and my band, the opportunity to come and do that. We also did a couple shows at Conch Island Key West Bar and Grill, which is in Rehoboth Beach, and that's a really cool spot too. We have been doing runs in South Carolina, North Carolina. We hit Georgia once. I did a show in Pittsburgh. So I've been really getting around this year, and that's been a lot of fun and really fulfilling as a musician to just receive the response and the respect for playing my music. That's been awesome. And we've been doing a lot of covers and stuff too. Like, we've been trying to make it fun. Like, I know I'm not gonna force someone to drudge through a whole night of my music. I like to keep it fun if I can. We also did a 90s night, which was really cool. That went really well. Just a 90s themed set list. A bunch of alternative rock, some grunge, and I think it went really well. I'd love to explore some other possibilities with that. Maybe do some songs that people don't expect. But yeah, man. As far as music goes, it's been great. I've been catching a lot of. I've been able to catch up with a lot of local bands too. We did some shows with Heartbent. They're another local band. They're a little more like metal, like kind of like punk and metal. I'm not great with genres. I probably should be better, but I don't know how they would describe themselves. Let's see. Sexy hot emo. There you go. I can dig that. Yeah, they dropped their album. I'm gonna try to get them on at some point. Yeah, good heavy jams. We did a couple shows with them in Richmond and Washington D.C. and they really bring it live. They're one of the best. They're one of the best local bands in the area right now. And if you're looking for someone that gets that mosh pit going, they are the ones to go see. And they do the emo shows too. They usually do like not Taking Back Sunday. They usually do My Chemical Romance. But all around great. They're all young compared to me, but really talented musicians. Make me want to go practice. That we did. My friend Lindsay Collette, her band, who are now called Lindsay. They did a show with us in DC. She came up and sang Amber Eyes with us, which was really fun. Her band is awesome. They're based more in the DC area, I believe, but they do shows pretty regularly. I think she's in a couple projects, so. But I know they just rebranded as Lindsay, spelled Lynnsy. I feel really dumb that I should have just had that up here for me to spell. I don't know if I spelled it right. Whatever. I digress. Yeah, they were awesome. The scene's been hopping pretty good lately. Some really good shows. Spacing out. I started doing Muay Thai classes to get fit, and yeah, I did one earlier tonight, and so I'm pretty shot right now. But I wanted to get on here. I like getting on here sometimes and just doing these solos because you know, it's kind of like a mental brain dump. Just talking about whatever I want to talk about. Um, I've been dealing with a lot of emotional baggage for a long time. And I feel like I'm finally getting into a headspace where I'm really pushing myself to a new place where I just want to be the best version of me that I can be. So I'm doing these Muay Thai classes a few times a week. That's been pushing me to hit the gym more. And that's just been kind of giving me more energy to do the other things I love doing. Got some studio appointments lined up to keep making music. Got plenty of gigs on the calendar. Starting to book ones for next year, which is awesome. But yeah, man, I've already in talks with people to come on and do more podcast appearances. This has been awesome. Um, I've always dealt with this feeling of loneliness, of feeling alone in the world, and like doing things like this just keep you just kind of need to keep reminding yourself that that's not the case. It's really easy to get drudged down in negative thoughts, when especially if like it seems like things are just kind of on a bad trend. Those steady reminders that there are people out there who respect you, that want you to be happy. And I tend to get stuck in these black holes of mental thoughts of thinking about just like how could anybody love me? How could I've been alone for so long? I'm always going to be alone. Like I'm not good enough. I'm not worth it. And thinking that people think the worst of me. But and then usually something will happen and just remind me that I'm just letting things drag me down that have no weight whatsoever. And I do recognize that I'm a lucky person, that I have a good job. I'm able to do the things I like doing. I have, the ability to make music and write songs, and I'm surrounded by awesome people that like playing with me, and it's really one of those things where you can't let those negative things, it's going to happen. You're going to have those bad thoughts, but you can't let them take hold. You got to remember that there are a lot of good things in life, so, been eating healthier, trying to, eat out less, I did go to TGI Fridays the other night and treat myself, but for the most part, I've been doing like factor meals and salads and protein shakes, and trying to, take supplements and stuff to stay healthy and get my body where it needs to be, so that I can become the machine that I was born to be. What else is going on? I mean, obviously, we got the election coming up. I'm not going to sit here and tell you who to vote for. In my opinion, we've got one person that's going to do nothing for me versus another person that's going to do nothing for me. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I think a lot of people will say, oh, they're going to do this or they're going to do that. I don't know. I feel like last election they said they were going to do all this stuff. That stuff didn't happen. Same thing happened the election before that. Same thing happened the election before that. That doesn't mean they don't want to do those things, but it's just the reality of politics, that it seems like they will say whatever they have to get elected, and then they might try to make things happen, but then you've got the the bureaucracy of our government, and it just makes it impossible to make any sort of meaningful change. And that's just kind of the reality of it. But I'm always open to hearing people's thoughts. But it seems like most of the stuff I see online is just a very biased, memes or articles that are very one-sided. They just really, I mean, in my opinion, they make up a lot of, Jesus, stuff is just always falling in my room. Is that my guitar? All right. People would just make things up to make their point, and as long as people are hearing what they want to hear, they're gonna agree with it, So the only thing I could say is, do your research, but really, I mean, that would be the right thing to do, is do some research, but most people don't have time for that crap. I don't have time for that crap. I would say take most things with a grain of salt, Every election, we're told this guy's going to save us and the other guy's going to ruin it. And then when the other person wins, nothing really changes. Most things stay the same. But there is, that sense of escalation that everyone seems to like. If so-and-so wins, like, it's going to be the end of the world. It's going to be World War III. It's like, really? I really think we shouldn't be fighting each other. I think we should be fighting against the system that doesn't seem to care about, people that are struggling. I'm basically living paycheck to paycheck. I'm able to stay on top of my financial stuff, but still, like, if I want to make things happen, I got to dip into my pocket. I got to go into debt to really, do stuff. I have some money saved, but it's if something serious were to happen, our system is built off of, we'll give you money, but then you're going to pay us back 2 times, 3 times that much eventually, after interest and all that stuff. So it's exhausting talking about politics and all that stuff, but I mean, I guess if I'm going to be coming on here and saying stuff, I might as well put my thoughts out there. But I like talking with people and having reasonable conversations, and I hate that Facebook and basically any social media, it seems to push people more towards just screaming at each other and calling each other names and fighting with each other, instead of being able to have reasonable conversations. And, I've seen people try to have reasonable conversations and people just crap all over them. I've seen it all go all sorts of different ways, but it is what it is. Hopefully this election will happen. Whoever wins will win. And, I'm sure people will be upset and devastated, but life will go on. It's not like there's going to be some kind of Red Dawn situation where we get invaded. We're still a pretty free country in terms of being able to do the things we want to do. Whew. Just been drinking that water. Gotta get that water. All right. What else? So let's talk about something a little more lighter. Movies and TV and all of the above. My brother recommended I watch that Dracula TV show on Netflix. So I did finally watch it. It's only 3 episodes. They're like an hour and a half each. And they were pretty good. There was some cool horror elements. I thought the guy that played Dracula was really good. There was like a couple really good like horror set pieces had like these bodies that were all contorted into boxes and stuff. They come climbing out. It was pretty freaky stuff. But then there was like kind of like a weird like humor. Like there's the one lady in there. She's like the Van Helsing character, and she's like making all these quips left and right and jokes and stuff. And sometimes they felt out of place. Sometimes they were funny. It was just like they're in like the 1800s or whatever, and she's like making like these quips and jokes and stuff like it's an Avengers movie or something. And so it took me out of it a little bit, but overall, it was a decent story. It was an interesting study on the character of Dracula, and I liked it. It wasn't a complete waste of time. So I watched that. Another show I watched was The Brother's Son, which is relatively new. It's kind of like about this family that's their father is like the head of this like Chinese triad, and like they try to assassinate him. So they send the older brother to America to protect the younger brother and mother. And the younger brother doesn't know anything about the triads or anything like that they're even associated with it. So there's a lot of humor and stuff around that about him, like being told that he has to like be a part of the family and support each other and be a part of this triad or whatever. And the but the older brother, like, he likes baking, and he comes to America, and it's like a whole like new culture for him. So he's kind of adapting. There's just a lot of like interesting humor, but also like some really great fight sequences. Like the choreography is really good. They feel really intense. You feel like people are in danger. There's like a lot of really great intense fighting, and then there's like some they try to incorporate like some other elements, like they have some of that like Jackie Chan style sequences where he's just like trying to avoid getting attacked by somebody, and it's like almost a little slapsticky, but because it's choreographed so well, you're kind of into it. And then and then like and then every now and then they have like the different Oriental foods and stuff, the Chinese stuff, and that, like, I was just sitting here watching it. I was like, man, I want to go to like the hibachi grill right now, just like load up on teriyaki shit. So that was a really good show. I like it. I hope they do another season of it. So that I started watching Justified. It's been a show that's been on my radar for like ever. The Timothy Olyphant has been like one of my favorite actors for a while. Like, I just love his whole vibe. He always brings like a really calm, cool energy to like anything he's in. You really believe him. But yeah, so I started watching that. I'm into that. Some of the bigger movies I saw this year were I saw obviously Dune Part 2, which was amazing. Incredible movie. Loved it. And then Deadpool and Wolverine, amazing, incredible movie. Obviously going into it, I had a million theories and things that I wanted to happen, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I want a movie that feels like it makes sense. It has like a good like story and a good like payoff to everything, and that's how I felt with that movie. I felt like it just hit hard. It was hilarious. It had great action. It had it had some really great reveals. Things that did surprise me that I wasn't expecting. So that was really good. And then I just saw the new Alien movie, Alien Romulus. That was pretty good. There were a lot of things that I really liked about it. Pretty much any kind of set piece, like any sequence, that was all done. Those were all done really well. Like you felt the tension you were supposed to feel. They executed like the the action sequences really well, and then the like the story was pretty good. Like, there's a monster at the end that's kind of new, that was really freaky, and I thought it was pretty well done. The thing that I felt like it lacked on was, well, for one, they had some really horrible like throwback lines. Like, they I think they thought they were doing like some fanfare, so they felt like they had to have like these really important lines in the movie, and they didn't. They were just executed very horribly, and it really took me out of the movie every time they did it. Like, it felt like they were inserted into like spots because they wanted to, throw back to them. But that was my feeling, was that those weren't executed very well. The other thing is, I just didn't feel like the kills, like the death sequences, were done all that great. Obviously, like, actually, like, some of the best parts are when you think somebody's going to die, but then they end up not dying, and then they die later in another way, and that always felt like was lame. Like, yeah, like the there's just like a couple like moments where I was like, all right, like, at the end of the day, the thing that I feel like has been lost in the Alien movies is that the aliens kind of stopped being scary. And that's what I feel like they need to get back to. And the reason that I feel like they didn't land it in this movie in some ways is because anytime the aliens were like actually killing somebody, it was because like there were like a dozen of them. And, they would all be running in, and like, so it kind of diminished how scary one of them is. I love I really like the first Alien movie. It's not like my favorite of the movies. I think Aliens is my favorite, but its sequences were all great. Like, all the deaths in that movie, like, they hit hard. Like, you feel for all the characters in those moments. In this movie, like, it felt like the circumstances were right for the characters to die, but then they would like choose to kill them off in ways that I was kind of like, why? Why couldn't you just have the alien kill this guy instead of, like, just having acid melt through him, like stuff like that. So yeah, at the end of the day, I felt like it was a step in the right direction in terms of tone, but I don't know, maybe they needed just a couple other people in it to kill off to kind of really make you scared of the alien, because that's kind of like where I feel like it was lacking a little bit. See, I really like Alien 3 too. Like, I like it probably more than a lot of other people did. I obviously had this, like, some of the CGI and the stuff with the alien was pretty poor, but overall the thing, like, the alien felt scary in that movie. It's a bunch of convicts, bunch of murderers, criminals, rapists. May not sympathize with them that much, but when they're scared of this thing, you're like, oh shit, like, this thing is a real threat. So yeah, I have a lot of feelings about it, but overall, I'd watch it again. It's got some good moments in it, and I'd be curious to see if they took the story in another direction or if they continue the stories of some of these characters. But overall, like, in for the most part, I'm happy with what they did. Had a lot of the trademark alien things, like, oh, there's a timeline of we gotta do our thing and get out of here, or else, like, the place is gonna blow up. There's stuff like that made it feel like an alien movie, but still, like, kind of done in a little bit of a fresh way. There's like some interesting lore implications. But yeah, didn't see a lot of movies in theaters this year. I mean, I think I saw those three. I saw The Beekeeper earlier this year. I might go see this new Dave Bautista movie with my buddy, where he's like a hitman or something like that, and he decides to I think the premise is he's gonna die from like cancer, so he hires these hitmen to kill him because he doesn't want to deal with the cancer. But then he finds out that he doesn't actually have cancer. It was like a mistake. So then he's got to like try to call off the hit, but everyone's already coming to kill him. So it seems like a really funny premise. I like Dave Bautista. He always brings a good energy to whatever he's doing. What are some other things I watched? I finally watched all the Beverly Hills Cop movies. I watched the original two, and then I watched the new one that just came out on Netflix. And they're all really good. They're like really entertaining movies. You know, I'm drawing a blank. Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy has got a great charisma to him. I didn't always think his jokes were like hilarious. Maybe back in the day that was a little bit more, raunchy, but I still liked his energy like that he had. It really kept the movie fun and entertaining, but I think it's one of those. I think they're kind of like one of those movies. Like you kind of got to watch them when you're a little younger to like really like for them to really sink in a like a nostalgic way. So but like for me, Eddie Murphy nostalgia was like the Nutty Professor movies, and I'm trying to remember some other things he was in. I got my cheat machine here. Let's see. Oh yeah, Coming to America. Obviously, that I remember seeing that on TV all the time. Dr. Dolittle. I never saw Norbit. Some of them got a little like it was like a little too much. Like, oh, we're just gonna have them play like every character. But in general, oh yeah, I watched Dolomite Is My Name. That was really entertaining too. Couple funny moments in that, but for the most part, it was like a biopic based on this guy that he wanted to do all these things, and so he made it happen on his own, and like that was super inspiring to me because if I was waiting around for things to come to me, they'd never come. I got to go out and make them happen. So I had a lot of respect for that. I really liked the story of how he made all these things happen for himself. Even making a movie and like making that happen and be a success. Like it was really cool. All right, so that's all I got for right now. There's like I said, some cool guests coming up. Be on the lookout for more music. I look forward to having some people on that I really respect soon. People that I've been trying to get, but they're ultra busy. So hoping they'll make some time for me and be able to come on. And yeah, I'd love to do one. I'd love to do a pod where I just get some of the guys that have been playing with me this year to come on and we talk about some of the gigs and some of the things that like stuck out to us and like just reminisce on the fun we had this year, because it's been a good year. I lost my dad last year, and that's been so difficult, just trying to understand what life is without him, and like it's crazy how much you realize that like when you're I've been such a driven person to like make music happen or make my life happen, keep myself afloat, and you just kind of sometimes realize you're missing out on a lot of things, when you're like ambition kind of kills, ambition can kind of kill your social life sometimes, your family life and all that. And I've been trying to recognize that more lately and make sure I make more time for the people that I care about and my family and my friends. And I've been lucky that I haven't lost a lot of people close to me, but after losing my dad, I kind of realized that anything could happen at any time, and I feel like I may not have lost a lot of friends, but I know that I have a lot of friends that have lost people, and I've seen them struggle, and I wish that I was there for them more, you know. And, it's a tough thing in life, and I know that when I was going through stuff, I didn't want to bother anybody. I didn't want anybody to feel like they had to be there for me, but I also kind of wish they had been, and that I'd kind of open that door and let people in, but, we all kind of deal with things in our own way, so, thanks for listening. Yeah, thanks for listening. If you've made it this far, if you're that curious in me, let me know. Oftentimes I put these things out and it feels like nobody cares. And that's always like a tricky thing to kind of do. And, I'm not putting these out to get any kind of notoriety or recognition or, to do anything in particular. I'm kind of just doing it for me because I want to do it. And in a lot of ways it's therapeutic. And in a lot of ways it's kind of gratifying. And, I'm just trying to find my place in this world and make things make sense and, keep things interesting. Anyways, this is Will Sims signing off of the Who is Will Sims podcast, and be on the lookout for some more fun.